So right now we're starting a series with like people who've graduated from Hershey and kind of talking about their experiences at Hershey and then like after Hershey. And I stumbled across your Instagram and I saw that like you dropped out of college and are now going to pursue being a real estate agent, which I thought was a really cool story that's not talked about a lot because there's a lot of pressure at Hershey to attend university. So so I thought it would be a really good person to start off our new discussions with. So yeah, if you just want to introduce yourself, who you are, what year you graduated, what you do now.
So I'm Nick Martin. I graduated in 2017. And now I work for a local commercial real estate firm. After school, I went to college for 2 years. So I was on 2+2. I went to Penn State. I was at Penn State Altoona, and I was supposed to go to state college. Had a great time my freshman year. Didn't do too well in the classroom. So going into my sophomore year, I had that as a burden of some sense, and that it affects me going into my future semesters. And also I decided to live in an apartment instead of the dorms because I thought I would save money instead of getting a student loan. I did that, but it was very expensive. So my summer going into my sophomore year, I was going to pick up a lot of responsibility financially. I was trying to find ways to make money because I was like, I can't just I worked in the school cafeteria for like 3 weeks. I was like, this is not going to cut it. I picked up a couple of things. I just remember Googling like how to make money without a college degree. And then I found real estate. And I was like, oh, you can be a real estate agent at 18 with no college degree. So I don't know. I thought I was like, all right. So I started to learn about that. I just started asking my friends' parents who I knew worked in real estate because I knew no one in real estate. So I was like, hey, your dad works in real estate. Can I talk to him? See what that's all about? And so I talked to like 40 to 50 people. Like it snowballed like really quickly. And that was in my first semester. So I was like working jobs and like just like making it work. Yeah, it was a interesting experience. And since I did bad academically, I needed to get a loan for my spring semester. You have to get a co-signer. And so I was trying to find a co-signer because I was like, I can't go to my parents. And I was working for a guy I met, one of my friend's parents. I was like, he owns like a couple student rentals. And I was like, yo, can I talk to him, like see what that's all about? And I met with him and he offered me a little gig. He was like, if you can lease my student rental, the first month's check is your check. Like that's how a residential agent gets paid. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, all right, like I did 2 of those. So I was like, that's like my rent for 2 months. Like I'm locked in and I need the loan still. So we started talking. I told him the situation and he asked me, he's like, I'll give you a job working for me or I'll co-sign your loan. And I was in school and this was like right after the beginning of my 4th semester. So end of sophomore year. And one of my good friends who also graduated from Hershey High School in my year told me, what's going to be there tomorrow, the job offer or school. So I just went for it. It was crazy and it was like the best and worst experience ever. Yeah, I mean, that's how it snowballed. I worked for him for a little bit, ended up splitting up. I came back to Harrisburg and then I was like just getting licensed. I was calling signs because I would see like real estate signs, like sale signs. And I was like, all right, made my rounds kind of. And then called a guy up here, shout out AJ Patel, Hershey Real Estate Group. And we talked and he gave me the number of someone who worked in commercial real estate. And I reached out to there was a firm I work at now. And I called a guy signed, Bill Gladstone. He showed me what it was like for a day. He took me out, kind of showed me what this would be like. And then I ended up taking a job with the firm and started working commercial real estate sales. It's been just shy of 2 years.
Do you think like Hershey could have like helped you better within like picking a college with better financial aid or like applying for scholarships?
See, that's a tough one for me because I'm not exactly the model student. So I think the resources were there. I don't know if they were like shoved down my throat, but I don't know. I was bad. I was like last minute, like submitting college apps. I was like, someone take me. And then I got lucky, you know?
No, we always talk about with people about like how in Hershey we always call like the chocolate bubble and stuff, and like
Mm-hmm.
how
Yeah.
it's such a nice community. It's provided us so many opportunities, but also bubbles are like closed off from the outside world, and like we don't always talk about the problems that occur, and we always like to see our town as like perfect and more elite, but there's a lot of stuff that like happens that we don't always talk about, and like people that are excluded. So
You guys, I mean, you tell me though, like what
mm,
you personally, like where, I mean, you guys are doing this project. So was there like a single moment that you guys, or like moments in your experience that like sparked this project?
yeah, I guess for me, part of the reason like I started this project was talking with people post graduation that like went away to college and realized how different our town is and how different our upbringing is and how different parts of their identity were something that they couldn't talk about growing up in Hershey. Um, so just getting to talk about that with my friends and being able to realize that we can make a change, because I think a lot of people leave their small town wherever they're from and never look back and talk bad about it. But as someone who really loves Hershey and cares about it and can also like realize that it can be improved, I that's why like I want to do this project, because I want, the next generation to not have to deal with different aspects of growing up in Hershey. I don't want them to have to deal with like racism or ableism or homophobia.
100%. So, and I don't disagree. Um, what is your take on like how do you improve that situation? What do you think is
Yeah,
like a solution?
I think first part is just addressing that it is there and it's a problem, because a lot of this is just swept under the rug. A lot of these problems are not brought to the forefront. They're laughed off as jokes, all of this stuff. And this can be seen with like teachers like not taking things seriously or parents excusing behavior. um, and there's just like this culture at Hershey that could be improved upon through like opening up discussions and making people feeling more comfortable about talking about things. That's what I've tried to do when I was at Hershey, like my senior year, and what I try to continue doing now. Mhm.
You're gonna run into that in like a lot of different settings in your life, your workplace, home, your town, whatever it may be. Maybe I think a step. I think everyone can control the one thing you can control, which is like your own actions.
Mhm.
So I think it does just start with an individual like yourself. You have to take, you have to lead by example. And I do think that's probably like the best solution. You'll get someone else to stand behind you if they have an example.
No, yeah, for sure. No, like Hershey is no way like a bad community or anything. Like
For
we look
sure.
at this like at other towns and it can be so much worse and stuff. But just always knowing that we can improve as individuals and always be reflecting on ourselves, we can also be doing the same for like our communities and towns. So that's part of the reason
For sure.
I want to do this. Yeah. I guess I'll go back. Let's see. Going back into like high school, in terms of like career, what were you like thinking about? Were you thinking about real estate at all? I think you said about like
Oh,
MBA.
no. Yeah, no. And so I remember watching a movie when I was little, and I saw guys in suits and ties like working in the city, and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to wear a suit and tie and work in the city. If I can like check those three boxes, I'm locked in. Got the job. Um, so I thought I was like, I gotta be a lawyer. So I was like, I gotta be a lawyer. I gotta work in government. I'm like, those boys, they seem like they got it going on. So I was like, all right. And I did my internships, like the DA, the judge, and then for the state. I just was not good with all that school. I was thinking about it. I was like, to be a lawyer, I'm gonna wait like 8 years, like, like from right now to like go wear this suit. Like I'm nah, it's all right. So um, I was like, all right, I think I always like could do like a side hustle. That was always like I hated working for people. I'm a bad employee. Um, that's just true. I don't mind working hard, but it's just like I always feel like I don't understand having like a ceiling to your time. And I feel like you can create value it's more risk. So I get people's risk level and like it's different for your life, and what's going on. I didn't like work in long hours. So I was like, why can't I just work in like fragments and make the same amount of money somehow? I think it was just like obviously taking like the one really big risk was like just it's like sending it out of school. But I only did that because there was an option. Like you have to like kind of create an opportunity. You can't just like drop it because you don't like it. It's like you don't just quit your job one day. You can maybe like take a couple weeks, go find another position, and then leave. Have some patience and like work and develop something, and then like you have options.
What do your like friends and family like think of your decision of like dropping out of college and going into real estate?
Um, Friends didn't give a shit. Yeah, they're cool with it. Family, not so. That was not so hot. Yeah, you try telling your parents you're dropping out of college, and not exactly congratulations. I wasn't dropping out because I was doing so well. Like, so,
It wasn't Bill Gates or anything.
yeah, I was not like, oh, I'm crushing in school. I'm gonna take a break. Like, but they're happy now because like you have to make something. Like I think if you can like make something happen, if there's proof, if you can show proof, like what are my efforts and here's what I've made because of my efforts, then and you take responsibility. Like it's also things like on my financial burden. I like to take a risk. Like my if I'm like, I'm gonna pay for school. If my parents are paying for school, then like maybe I'm not just gonna drop out, right? Maybe we should like think about that process more. But for me, I was like, this is my financial risk to take, so I'm gonna choose what I'm gonna do with it. And so they understand that it should always be at my risk. It's like, or if I want to do it, if I want to have the independence, I should say.
Looking back at your time at like Hershey, is there anything like you would have changed personally or like wish the school would have done differently to like help you in the future?
I would say like overall, it not a bad experience. I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying, and I don't necessarily think it's as much like the school, um, or the kids, um, but it's just like, it's a culture of an area, not even just Hershey, but it's who people are. You just have to have people share experiences together. At the end of the day, we're all pretty much the same. So I think everyone takes a good step forward in most situations towards people. Think about their individual actions and be able to like, share an experience with someone and read good and bad. And that's pretty much it.
Can I like propose like an idea for you and see what your
Sure.
thought would be on it?
Go for it.
Okay. I know a lot of like schools have like career fairs and stuff and have people come in. Do you think it would have been like helpful? It's like a high schooler to have people like have a real estate agent come in, have a lawyer come in and like talk to you and tell you about like what they had to do to get there and that kind of stuff.
I think it would be like dope to have that happen, but then like do like co-op programs. Like I only like kind of had an idea of what I wanted to even try. Because I'm still trying something. Um, what I want to try because like I had experiences in high school. So it'd be nice if it was part of your. It is to an extent. Like do get you internships. It's an internship, but I think like more of your time, like more like project based like learning. So I think that'd be like neat. It's like just do more like co-op stuff, like get people more involved and like go try some stuff and be like you don't, because like you might like learning. It depends on like what form, or you might want to like try an activity so you know what you might want to try in college. Like if you can scratch one thing off the list, good or bad, it's like one step. You just saved yourself time like later on.
I know like HSEP is like a cool thing for people who want to go into like medicine and stuff. So that would have been like cool to have it in like different fields.
For sure. Yeah, it would have been neat. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like you don't exactly go to the job fair and see the electrician, you know. You don't go to the job fair and see a plumber. Like this is not how it is. But those are fantastic. Like I work with those. I work with tradesmen, like contractors that do jobs and deals, and that's a great profession. And there's pros and cons to everything, and you gotta like it and stuff. But it's like that's like a skill you could carry with you like outside of the workforce as well, like, even just into your home life. So I think like skills with your hands are probably not like the foremost push thing. So I hear what you're saying. Like that could be nice to include some of that stuff and see if people like that. Um, you might really like a way of life in a profession that doesn't pay a ton of money,
Mhm.
but like that's also like not the end all be all. It's like definitely important. Like when you're out in the real world, like money to an extent does matter to like your daily life. But I think money and happiness are like two different like dials you got to work on. I don't know, like I'm not there yet. I think it takes time and like life experience. But yeah, like those are two different things you got to focus on. You can intertwine them. It's just might not be the most lucrative job in the world.
Yeah, and it always takes like time. You can't expect making good money, enjoy what you're doing right out of school.
Yeah, yeah. It treatment like I had a great mentor of mine tell me, he's like, you shouldn't even worry about money for like the first like few years. Like go learn stuff, go experience like things, like dive into it, and the money will come. Like that money's a reward for doing a really good job in the workforce for the most part. That's kind of how it works. Either you provide a good service or a good product, and someone will give you money for the value. So like you have to learn how to add the value, right? And you'll start getting that back. So it's like if you focus on doing a good job, I think you make more money than focus on like getting a dollar. That's like two different schools of thought. Um, Especially in my business, like there's a difference in like chasing a commission check and chasing a deal.
Okay. I feel like you answered all the questions I had. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to share.
All right. Yeah, this is cool. Thanks. I appreciate you taking the time. It's like, yeah, it's 9 o'clock now. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Yeah.